hotel rates. And I think the best way to describe the temperature at that time was it felt like I was wrapped in a wet wool blanket. But if you can stay in Florida in August, you're going to love it in January. During the hotter months, many year-round residents leave the area for cooler climates because even in the shade, you still sweat. And you make sure your air conditioning is working. Tourists. You may get tired of the traffic and the tourists. 100 million people visit Florida every year. So cars can be bumper to bumper if you're visiting a popular spot like Orlando or Busch Gardens. Yeah, there's hurricanes too. The season runs the beginning of June to the end of November, with peak time for storms between August and October. And yeah, there can be lots of rain. I mean, it is in a hurricane area right on the water. The Gulf of Mexico isn't exactly dry. Even if there's no hurricane in the forecast, it rains a lot and it rains heavily. You want to make sure maybe you install a generator to keep your AC running during power outages that may happen. Interesting known feature is that Florida is known for being the lightning capital of the U.S. Of the top 30 cities with the most lightning strikes, Florida has 17 of them. Tampa and Cape Coral are numbers 1 and 2. But there's also Palm Beach and Miramar and Jacksonville. They're in the top 10. Now, one thing you might miss if you're used to having the changing seasons, summer, fall, winter, spring, you're used to watching the leaves turn color or enjoying the spring trees and blooming flowers, then be prepared to live year-round without them. But you won't miss the pollen, I can guarantee you. And, as I said before, there's a lot of people moving there, and you'll have lots of company if you retire to Florida. There's already more than 3.5 million Florida residents that are 65 and older, and it will increase substantially as baby boomers move down there. Census projections predict 4.5 million people over the age of 65, and that number is expected to grow to 6 million rapidly. And this growth is increasing the strain on the infrastructure and natural resources like water. Pedestrian deaths, believe it or not, are significantly higher in Florida than the national average. There are many roads without traffic lights, and even when there are lights, there's often long stretches between them. This leads to people trying to cross 6 lanes of traffic in the middle of the street. Although pedestrians in Florida have the right of way, drivers don't always like to yield. So if you do stop for a pedestrian, the cars behind you will probably start honking at you, but stop anyway, please. Another drawback to consider is everybody looks like they're old. Well, they are, but so much is geared towards retirees and older people. The TV commercials, the early bird senior savings at the local restaurant, the entrance fees, other discounts. Grocery stores, restaurants, bars, highways are filled with seniors, so driving can be a challenge. And another drawback that you need to remember as you're moving to Florida is critters abound. Termite treatments are a routine part of living in the Sunshine State. Since many homes are built of wood and it has a lot of wet weather, Florida's a perfect picnic for termites to enjoy. Yeah, there's rats, there's palm rats, roof rats. You may see rats on the beaches too. Treatment is a big investment for both termites and rats, and lots of bugs. Roaches like the hot weather, just like humans. They grow really large, sometimes as big as a baby's fist. So when you're moving to Florida, the first thing you need to do is sign up with a good pest control company. They'll come to your home on a regular basis and treat for pests. Fortunately, these days, the pest control companies use chemical barriers that they apply to the outside of the home. They're not 100% effective, but when they fail, the pest control company can provide additional treatments at no extra cost. So when you're shopping around, make sure that that's something that you can get included at no additional cost. Another thing to watch for when you're moving to Florida, you have to keep an eye out for alligators, panthers, pythons, sharks, and bears. There's a good reason for homeowners to have a lanai built to enclose their backyard swimming pools, protection from sun and critters. Volusia County is the shark bite capital of the world. There's always lots of people in the water, and a lot of the type of fish that sharks bite they love it. Sharks swim close to shore. But it's only about 20 to 30 attacks per year. Most of them aren't fatal, but you should be aware of the fact that the sharks do like swimming in the same water that you will. You remember that developers rule in Florida. So what developers want, developers get, because it means money for the state. What they really want, more subdivisions and more communities. As the population of Florida grows, the number of subdivisions increases, and the habitat available for wildlife decreases. And often homes will get built too close to the bears' habitats, and these hungry bears go looking for food. People put their garbage out in unsecured trash cans, which is a stupid idea. But that's like putting out an all-you-can-eat buffet sign for the bears. These animals are big and strong, and they can break into your garage. It's no big deal. Another thing to be aware of when you're moving to Florida is sinkholes are prevalent. What? The earth is opening up? That actually happens pretty often in Florida. It's called a sinkhole. A hole suddenly opens up in the ground, and it's not just a little hole. It's huge. It can swallow up a car, a house, a whole neighborhood. A sinkhole occurs because of the Florida aquifer, which is the source of much of Florida's drinking water. The ground beneath Florida is composed of porous limestone, which is the natural cache for rainwater. When the water level gets too low, the ground caves in and it forms a sinkhole. As the population of Florida grows, more water is taken from the aquifer. This means more sinkholes, I hate to tell you. Just remember, too, that sunburn can harm your health. So if you're moving from the Midwest or the Northeast, you won't be used to the strong sun's rays year-round. And so too much sunburn can cause your skin's texture to change, which results in uneven skin coloring. That's called sunspots or premature wrinkling. The most serious result of too much sun is skin cancer. So you'll quickly learn to avoid the sun between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and apply sunscreen for protection. You're going to want to wear a sun hat and sit under an umbrella if you're at the beach during those hours. You most likely, and I can guarantee this, you'll have an increase in company. This may be something you enjoy or not. It's exhausting to entertain people who expect you to show them around while they're there. Do you really want visitors staying in your home? You need to set boundaries ahead of time so people know they just can't stay all winter. A few days is fine. Give them a map and show them how to get to the different places they want to go to, but don't let them stay for a very long time. And as I mentioned just briefly, depending on where you live and whether you finance your home purchase, you'll probably be asked to buy flood insurance. So you want to talk about this up front with the realtor you're using, because it can not only be pricey, but it could be hard to get. I had clients who paid cash for their home in an HOA, but the HOA required them to buy flood insurance. It's protection at a price, but boy, is it worth it if you need it. And the last thing you want to do is to just check the crime statistics in the area that you're considering, because some areas have more and others have less. If you choose a gated community, you want to drive through after dark to check the lighting. Don't just talk to the salespeople. Talk to the residents there to see what they do like and don't like. Now, this is just an overview, because I know when you're trying to move to Florida, you're thinking, oh, warm weather, I can't wait to get there. But this will give you some things to think about as you travel around the state looking for a place to call home. When you decide on an area, then decide on the type of housing that suits you. Some retirees like a lock and leave type of housing where they don't have to worry about the exterior. They can lock the door, they can travel or visit other areas of the state. You'll want to know what amenities there are in the area you choose and what the monthly fees are like, and what do they include and exclude. Are those amenities ones that you're going to use regularly? Well, if you don't play golf, then don't pay to play. Is it a golf course community? Is the community self-contained? Some of the bigger communities like Lakewood Ranch, the Villages, or On Top of the World have grocery shopping, restaurants, and more. So you don't necessarily have to leave the community unless you want to. But you also want to check the medical facilities close to where you want to be. There's some great hospitals in Florida. So if you need health care, you want to live close to one of them. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to email me at moveorimprovewithdebbie@gmail.com or visit my website, boomerhousingoptions.com. And thanks for joining me.